Hi everyone, welcome to the Thinking with T podcast. My name is Tommy. On the show today with me is Elisio Mayunga.
Thank you, Tommy. Honestly, it's amazing that we get to do this, because a lot of the times when we do interviews like this, we do with strangers, and today I'm doing one with someone that I know, so it's quite amazing to be here. Thanks a lot for inviting me as well.
I'm so happy and glad to be speaking with you as well. For the benefit of those listening, myself and Elisio used to work in an energy company some 2-3 years back, and seeing some of the things he's doing, I'm really so happy and impressed with how far he's come. Anyway, Elisio lives in Nottingham. He's from Angola, but he's a British citizen, right? He's a British person, lives in the UK right now. So he's going to be talking about his journey, in terms of entrepreneurship, his experience as a Black person as well in the UK, and what more. So once again, welcome to the show, Elisio.
Thank you, Tommy. Thank you. And that's an amazing introduction. we don't really get to express a lot how our roots. And definitely, I love the fact that you mentioned I'm Angolan, and I'm hoping that if there's any Angolan listeners, we can interact, just because it's good to have a strong community.
Yeah, Angolan people out there, if you're listening, this is your boy, Elisio, on the show. Anyway, so also is that Elisio is also the founder of a company called 25 Pharma. I will be talking a lot more about that, in the course of this conversation. So anyway, Elisio, let's just start this way. What inspired you to go the way of entrepreneurship?
The first inspiration, it has to be my parents. I'm very fortunate that I come from a background where both of my parents, they were entrepreneurs themselves. So growing up, all I'd seen was them really, being self-sufficient, doing their own businesses, and be able to, I wouldn't say do what Richard Branson does for his kids, but at the same time, in terms of what an entrepreneur is, they did manage to teach me a lot. So I got the passion from them, and I suppose that's the reason why I'm doing it today.
Oh, so they were entrepreneurs back in Angola or here in the UK?
It was all back in Angola. You know how it is, when we say entrepreneurs in Angola, back at home. My mom, it was from the really ground level where, she used to have a little catering business for her church, and everyone that was getting married, everyone that was having birthday parties, they would, of course, not birthday parties because she's Jehovah's Witness, but everyone that was getting married or having any sort of gatherings, they would use my mom's catering business. So I kind of got a lot of the whole hard work ethic from her. And my dad, he's always been into business himself. He had a few hotels in Angola that he runs, or he used to run, and I kind of just learned a lot from him as well.
No, that's quite interesting. And but in terms of your experience so far, start running a business. When did you start? When did you go full entrepreneur mode? Like,
I'll say full is been within the last 6 months, because as much as the thing about the reason why I say this is because I've always been very driven to be an entrepreneur, because I've always been into to really doing my own businesses. I started, from what I can remember, when I was in secondary school in England, in Nottingham, I was finding, broken phones, fixing them up, and then reselling them. I was 13 and 14. So It's something that I've been very driven to do. But, when the mentality a lot of the times for our parents, bless them, is that once they manage to get us to a country like this, they're very much driven for you to focus on education. And
that's the thing.
It's very important for us to know that difference is that our parents, of course, they send us here with one purpose only. And I feel like that purpose is something that I really try to respect as long as possible. And that's the reason why I believe it took me this long to really go, full time on my own business, just because I was very contenting to fulfilling that purpose of, getting education, getting a standard job, and then, just try to live off that sort of expectations, I suppose.
Getting back to the education bit, I know that you graduated from the University of Nottingham. What degree was that?
I graduated from the University of Northampton, and that was actually international business. Yes, it was international business. So like
you had it in mind. Yeah, it was going to be business anyway.
Yeah, it's always been about business. It's always been about entrepreneurship for me. It's always been about that. I mean, I went to university, and I suppose the first degree that I wanted to do was related to how to run a business, and because I've always been very driven to learn everything that I need to learn here, and as hopefully one day I can go back to Angola and apply my knowledge there. So I've always wanted to do something that linked both markets, and that's the reason why I've done international business.
So, in terms of your experience so far, so what's it been like
Oh man, Tommy,
doing
it just
business
makes me
here in the
feel like,
UK?
yeah, my experience so far, it just makes me feel like as much as you shouldn't look back in time, it makes me feel like I wish I'd done this a lot sooner. It's just because now that
Wow.
I am full time on to what I really love and I really enjoy. I mean, the sort of work ethic that we have when we're doing something that we love is just completely different. So,
Yeah,
uh,
definitely. It's not a nine to
yeah.
five thing.
Oh man, it's just a different thing. It's a different thing. So my experience so far, I feel like it's more a relief where I'm just doing what I love. So it's just all been an amazing experience for me.
I've seen a few of your products on Facebook. It's usually food, packed food products, isn't it?
Yeah, so at the moment, most of our products are all plant-based. We've
Okay.
got we've got raw cacao, we've got beetroot powder, and we've got maca powder, and we've also got some sea moss powder. So, we've always been, because my mom was diabetic as well. We've always been very health driven, where we always want to be healthier, just because she always gave us the intentions that if you don't look after your health, you might end up like me, where you have to watch out what you eat. So I wanted to implement my business into something that I really believe, and that's
Around
making
food.
people healthy. Yeah, I wanted to make, I wanted to sell products that would make people healthier, a lot healthier. Yeah.
How do you source your? I mean, obviously, don't give us don't give us your trade secret. But I know you also talk a lot about, setting up business. You've mentioned it, in the course of this conversation already. Setting up business in Angola and what have you. Currently, do you have any sort of arrangement where you source your product from the continent, or it's sourced mainly here from the UK?
No, so it's an amazing question that you asked me that, because the reason why we wanted to do this really is to be able to do these products but come from back home.
Okay.
And at the moment, the reason why we haven't been able to source the products that will complement this range that we have so far is because of the situation that we have in the world, customs, and the obstacles that have come across. It's something that we have to wait a bit longer. But the purpose and the goal for us is to really source Angolan coffee. We want to, of course, sell Angolan coffee here as an Angolan person, and really bring back Angolan coffee, because I'm not sure if you know, but before Angola was colonized, we had the third best coffee rated in the world. So
Oh, really?
it's something, yeah. So the Portuguese came and they kind of destroyed everything that they needed to destroy to make sure that we couldn't progress, unfortunately. But coffee was one of those things, and at the moment, as a country, because we need to grow our export industry, coffee is something that it's been a lot incented to be exported out. So coffee is something that we want to start by getting products from back home, and as well we want to look into Ghana, because Ghana has one of the most is the biggest exporter of cacao, and we want to be exporting from Ghana ourselves. But at the moment, where we are as a business, we have to try and keep things as local as possible, just so there's no delays to deliveries, there's no issues at
Okay.
all in customs, and it's just more effective that way at the moment.
Oh, wow. And in case someone's listening and is wondering, what the product, where they can maybe get your product, they can visit your website, can they? That's 25
Yeah,
Farmer,
yeah,
25
that's right. Yes, so it's 25farmer.co.uk.
25farmer.co.uk. I mean, you can, I think if you're listening, you can check it out. I've seen some of the packaging is actually very, very beautiful, they look very lively. I've not bought anyone. Maybe after now, I'll place my orders. But one of the things that interests me and why I was interested in having this conversation with you is that, in terms of, on the back of a lot of things, a lot of conversations that's been going on about race in the US, here in the UK, and all other parts of Europe, revisiting some of the injustices of the past, the legacies of slavery, colonialism, and how they affects Black people today. There's always this tendency for, all of in the midst of the protests and what have you. I always have this belief that the most important thing for Black people, where it's very important for Black people to win, is in the marketplace. That if you win in the market, then a lot of other things will align or fall into place. And which is why I'm, interested or very happy with what you're doing. Do you think that, a lot more younger, Black people like yourself, whether of African heritage, whether of Caribbean heritage, or wherever they come from, should go in that direction, say entrepreneurship, building businesses, building those sort of structures?
Yeah, I mean, this question that you're asking is very valuable, because what the question that you're asking is really the solution of our problems. Because I know for a fact that the issues that we are having is really political. I wouldn't want to get too much into it just because I don't have the right to talk about that, as I'm not a politician at all. But it's very political, I believe. It's things that we have these social issues because we don't have the sort of financial background to support
Okay.
the politicians that we would look after our best interests. So and if you look at our communities, and I mean, I'm talking about global communities in Africa. I mean, even in Africa itself, our governments, unfortunately, they don't really look at the best interest for us. So it's a very good question. It's just because I believe that for us to be able to move from these issues, there needs to be an understanding, and the understanding is that us as Black people, we need to actually spend Black. I mean, we can't be the race that has the most buying power when it comes to music, when it comes to food, but we all giving that sort of money to other races like the Chinese. We prefer to order Chinese than a Caribbean shop. So we need to be very careful, because we can't be screaming stop killing us, just to be as dramatic as possible. We can't be screaming let's stop killing us when on the other hand we're giving them money. It's very hard for us to really grow as people, because all these other races and all these other cultures, they've had so many years to really build what democracy is. And within that time that they had to build democracy, they only had themselves to really empower themselves.
Okay.
So now that we have this whole sense of freedom, of course, we have all this sense of freedom where, of course, we're not in chains anymore. We're not really colonized anymore. But it's that mental whole hatred that we have against progress, and that's the progress between ourselves. And we have to be very mindful of when we speak. Don't just buy Black. I'm not saying buy Black, but I'm saying be very aware of, if you're really trying to empower your community, you need to build something for yourself. You need to create jobs. You need to educate people. You need to set up schools that it will be able to, again, teach kids that before we were slaves, there were history that shows
Yeah, I
that we
mean, we
were
have a
kings and
bigger histories beyond slavery.
yeah. It's just that conversation. I think the question that you ask is so valuable, because we need to stop being so angry when these issues come about, because we need to actually look at the solution and the root of the problem. And the root of the problem is that as a culture or as people, we don't spend enough in ourselves. We
Within
spend
ourselves, within
all,
our communities.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, one of the things that people say is the fact that, oh, maybe African products or businesses are a lot more expensive to patronize.
That's an amazing point. That's an
Yeah,
amazing
people
point.
say that. I don't know. It's not something I've really, really experienced or really deliberately went out to. I just do my own shopping. I really don't think, oh yeah, I need to patronize this person. But what do you think about that? And what can you, now talking about you as an entrepreneur now, how can you solve that sort of problem? Or how can we solve that kind of problem?
Yeah, it's an amazing question, because one thing that I I feel as an entrepreneur myself, before anything, because I'm an entrepreneur, I don't think about my race. All I think about is who is my competitor. And if
Yeah.
my competitor is doing this, then what do I need to do to be able to compete? So when I think about my competitor, for example, because I sell health products, I think about, for example, Holland and Barrett. And you know, when I think about their standard, when I think about their professionalism, when I think about their prices, I try to do better. So when it's really that conversation of how, if you're buying black, is you're expecting to be more expensive. Unfortunately, if you got a retail store, then the retail fee might be a bit more expensive, that you need to increase your prices. But me personally, I've got an online business, so my prices can be comfortable to be there to compete with those people. So it's very hard to answer for all black businesses. But one thing that is very important for us as black people is to, even if we have our home business, it's vital for us to make it as professional as possible, because the
Yeah.
competition is not within ourselves. It's not within ourselves. You're
Yeah.
competing with with whoever has at least 400 years of an advantage on you. So with 400 years of an advantage, you need to make your businesses as professional as possible.
Yeah, and I think I totally agree with that. We shouldn't just say that, yeah, I'm black, yeah, every black person come and buy from me,
No, no,
even
no,
if you
no,
have
no.
not
That's
put
no.
in
That's
the,
that's the last thing that we should say. That's the last thing that we should say. Just because we are black and we are expecting support from our own people, we should actually, the first thing that we need to look at is it's how professional is our business, and how much is really my service valued. If we give in really poor customer service, how many customers should you expect?
mm, mm. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that. I think that aligns with some of what I believe personally as well. Anyway, the market always wins anyway. So, I
Oh
mean, if
yeah,
you
yeah.
don't,
That's
if you don't but in terms of competing and collaborating, there's this thought I always have again about. I think that there's not much of collaboration within the Black community in terms of businesses collaborating with one another uh, to deliver bigger value, so to speak. I don't have any statistics, but you look at some of the big conglomerates that have existed over time. People have learned to work with one another, to build things. But within the Black community, there seems to be this attitude where everyone is trying to do his own thing. So if I want to do something, for instance, instead of myself and yourself are saying the same line of business or in a complementary line of business, instead of coming together to, like, how can we build together, there seems to be always have this intra competition. I don't know how to express
yeah.
it, but I know that, yeah, businesses will compete, but I think more than any other group, Black people tend to compete more than they collaborate.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. I believe that the competition is always within our own culture, when the competition is not really, we will not competing against ourselves when the problem started. So the competition is not really with us. It's with whoever had the advantage of creating the democracy that gives them the capitalism that they have today. So when I'm speaking of competition, we shouldn't look at ourselves, because you're just like me. You need my support. So if you need my support, then I should be looking at you as someone that we have to grow together, just because of where we're trying to go as people.
Mm,
So, I completely agree with you. I just feel that when it comes to supporting, one another, it still comes down to that whole mentality that we've been installed. And we need to really always, this sort of conversation that me and you are having is very important, because it's the sort of conversation where, two black men are having a conversation about how can we empower one another. Because I feel like if you're over 18 as a black person and you have a few friends or family and whoever, and you're not talking about empowering one another, and I don't just mean us, me and you, I mean anyone, any black person at all. We're living in a day and age where things are getting extremely hard for businesses regardless. you can see how, you know, the market is screaming for help at the moment. So if you as a black person are not really talking to your people around you, how can you empower one another and make something out of whatever is happening? Then you know, you're gonna go through another decade and start screaming for help every time that they do something that it should not be humanly done.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now, empowering one another is it's really it's part of our jobs, and it's something that we need to make sure that we understand why we're doing it, and we understand that the end goal is for growth within our culture, within our communities. So competition, it's a beautiful thing, but we need to know who we're competing against. Otherwise, you're fighting against whoever is trying to help you.
But also, you know, I mean, obviously, you are still growing. You're a very young man. You're not 30, are you? You're not 30 yet, are you?
No, not yet, not yet, not yet,
You're not
not
close
yet,
to 30, definitely.
not yet, not
You know, so
yet.
you're a very young man. You're still growing, obviously. You're still learning as well. I think one of the things that some researchers have said, you know, not just within Black community anyway, generally, is the need to find role models, you know, within the communities, for people to find young men to find role models within the communities. You know, yeah, you're doing well, you pursuing your dreams, you're still growing, but is this something you think about, you know, being like sort of a mentor to younger people who might want to come in, say maybe move, who are moving down from Africa, coming to the United Kingdom, you know, to just say, okay, guys, you just don't need to get a degree and look for jobs, but you can also do business.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true what you said. I mean, at the moment, we need role models, and I mean, who can we really look at? Who can we really look at? And there's a lot of people that we can look at, but I still feel within the conversation of empowering ourselves, there needs to be a louder conversation within, you know, the people that really have the platform to talk. But at the same time, I mean, for anyone like ourselves that came to a country like this at such an early age, yeah, it's so vital for us to really understand that, you know, our parents' generation compared to the generation that we're in at the moment is completely different. It's completely different, and it's vital for us to be able to look at the way the world is going and make decisions that will empower you first as a person. You know, you need to look at your skill sets, see what you're naturally good at, and then once you make that skill set into, you know, something that is valuable to other people, you should look at you should look online, because online is really where everything is going, as you can see. So anyone that it's coming and has, you know, the whole idea of wanting to be financially independent, yeah, it's about adding value to your craft. It's about adding value to your craft and be able to transmit that to people the best way that you can. And the way that you can transmit that at the moment, the platform is definitely online.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, but what I'm saying is, in terms of you then putting yourself out there to say, okay, guys, you know what? Why don't you try to be like me? You know, making, you get what I mean? Like being a role model
Yeah,
to
I know.
those
You know,
people.
the funny
Is
thing
this
is,
something you are consciously working towards, or, you know, like that?
the funny thing is, I completely understood your question, but I just feel that as a person, as a leader, it's very hard for you to say follow me. I feel like the way I'm trying to live life is, I'm hoping that, you know, I can be transparent enough, and if anyone
Okay.
sees and they feel that they can follow, or just see something that it will inspire them, that would be amazing. But I
More or
suppose I
less
can
like
only
just
really,
set the example.
yeah, I just want to take the steps, every day, and I'm hoping that those steps will be, you know, something that people will look at and they'll be able to, you know, be inspired by, because we all need that. I mean, at the moment, like you said, I'm reaching nearly 30, and I feel like I would love to have a mentor. I would love to have someone that I can go to every day and just ask questions, you know, because we've got so many books and we read plenty of books, but in terms of having that one-to-one conversation with
Yeah.
someone, it's completely different. It's completely different.
Yeah. Do you have such mentors around?
I have mentors. I mean, I'll tell you, one of my mentors is Dr. Miles Monroe, but
Ah, the late
unfortunately,
Miles
he's not.
Monroe.
Yeah. He's one of my mentors. But I mean, in terms of having someone physically that I can go to or I can message whenever I want, I'm still looking for that person. And like I said, it's quite unfortunate that I haven't been able to. And I feel like I'm looking for someone within a community that would be able to support me like that. But I suppose I just haven't been able to find anyone like that yet.
Mm. I mean, that's the same because there'll be so many people out there as well saying, "Oh, I need someone to like a mentor to me." And what about Denny?
It's true, I've everything that I've been doing before, and now I've reached to Adeni because Adeni he's like ourselves. He's Adeni is very impressive. He's very impressive. He was very driven. I mean, you know what? While I was actually working for him, I didn't honestly always respect some of the decisions, but looking back at to how his business was driven out of the market and the efforts that he put in, I mean, I truly respect him as a black person, as an African person. Yeah, he's definitely someone that I've been to him. I've spoke to him about the businesses, and I've given him some questions. He's been able to answer me
Okay.
completely. Yeah, he's been very helpful. But I suppose in terms of the mentorship that I'm speaking about, it's just something that
Tailored
I
to
suppose
more
it's.
towards more of your own line of business, or
Yeah, it's more on my
okay.
line of business, and me personally, I just believe that because I'm trying to achieve something really greater than me, in terms of
Yeah.
being the best out there, and I don't mean that no disrespect of course to anyone, but because I'm trying to be the best out there, I want my mentor as well to be able to show me some accolades and really show that he, whatever he does, he is the best at what he does. And and
Yeah.
and and once I come across that, of course, I'll be very content that that person will give me the time of the day, and of course, I'll value that time extremely. Just because if you see someone that is the best at what they do, and you're trying to be the same, then you should most likely just have a notepad every time they talk.
Yeah. Anyway, in case someone's listening wondering who Adeni is someone we both worked with, back in the days, and he started an energy company called the Rest. I think I should do some sort
You
of
should get a
documentary about
Daniel here.
that
You need to
business.
get a Daniel here. You need to get a Daniel
Yeah,
here.
maybe it's something I actually think about, do a documentary about, Uresa and, just talk to people who are there, just put the story out there, let it be on record that, yeah, someone did something like this. A Nigerian guy started an energy company in the UK, and he had some success. Ultimately, he went down, but just put the story out there anyway. That's how people
No,
learn as well. Some people can be inspired by that. Who knows?
yeah, no, but that story, Danny's story, is something that you should definitely talk to him about because I mean, as an African person to come here, especially the energy market, for you to, and as an African person to get here and really be swimming with the sharks like he was, I mean, it was an amazing thing.
Yeah, it was great while it lasted. It was quite inspiring, but unfortunately, it's just unfortunate, it went the way it went. Anyway, away from that, so in terms of being black in the UK, I mean, you've lived in Angola, you've lived here in the UK. From in terms of doing business now, do you think, people say, yeah, there's structural racism, there's this, there's that. Do you think that exists? And if so, how do you think that has affected you as a person, if it does?
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to what I was saying when it comes to the business. I'm an entrepreneur first, so I don't really look at race, and
Yeah.
I make sure that I'm very content of using my race to promote my products, but I don't see it like that. I just I'm competing with Holland and Barrett, and with whatever they're doing, I just focus on competing with the business. I don't think too much about race. And I'm not going to be naive and say that some customers might not buy from me because they are aware that I'm black, but at the same time, it's not something that I think about as a business person, just because you can't if you're trying to compete with the right people. So it's something that I don't let that be an issue for me, and that would be an advice that I would give to anyone that moves to this country and has the sort of experience that I've had. Just because when it comes to business, just remember that it's always business. And as much as you'd like to think that there is racism out there, the biggest brands in this country, the biggest brands in America, in Europe, they use black models because our culture is very commercialized. And if you want to make something cool, or if you want to make sure that you get sales across the urban market, you'll be using black music, you'll be using black people. So it's not so much about race, it's sometimes how they actually use race as a weapon. But as a business person in the UK, no, I don't see race like that. I only see who my customers are and how much do I need to make sure that my work is to a professional level that it can satisfy them to the highest extent.
Well, I think that's it. But the thing is, if you pay attention to a lot of the media narrative, a lot of the there's so much harping on structural racism, this racism, that racism. And I think that it's counterproductive even for black people, because ultimately what that does is, now I'm not saying that things have happened obviously in the past, and that's, one can say it's maybe responsible for the condition of certain black people, yeah. But if we harp so much on that, wouldn't that then create, a victim mentality where instead of creating winners, we are sort of conditioning people to see themselves as victims in need of help and a handout.
No, that's the problem. But then again, you have to bear in mind that that's a strategy. It's a strategy. That's why in school we don't get taught the reasons that we should really. We don't get taught about tax. We don't get taught about financial literacy. So I mean, the media is really there to make sure that the community stay how they are. So when what you're saying is very true, and I believe that as a black person looking at media, you have to be very careful what you're really allowing your subconscious mind to take in, because if you continue, and I say that from experience, I mean, the question that you asked me if I see racism within business, I mean, when I was 16, I moved up north. I moved to Newcastle, and up north, things for black people back then were a lot more tough. I mean, I used to get called nigger by people
Really?
that were driving. Yeah, I used to get called nigger by people that were driving, past me sometimes, and it was just like, it was outrageous. So I know what's like as a black person to get racism in the UK, and it's quite funny. But at the same time, what you have to understand, that there is a bigger picture, and the bigger picture is really to make sure that your business is just as professional as possible, because professionalism is really what sells, and is providing that great customer service, providing that great service to people, that you will make the race thing not a problem, or you make the race thing not a card to be played about, because it's never about race. It's always about the service that you're providing, because if it's valuable enough, people will buy. People will definitely buy because it's worthy. So yeah,
I think I really, really like your perspective and your view, your perspective to life anyway. At the end of the day, it's
I
about
appreciate
creating
that.
value.
I appreciate that, Tommy, man. I appreciate that because, yeah, like you said, it's hard for everyone. All of us see the world the same way, but yeah, it's very important for all of us to know how we can, grow as a community.
Yeah, yeah. But so in terms of the future, just in a kind of nutshell, what's the plan? 25 Farmer.
Yeah, for 25 Farmer, the future is really, like I said, it's to take things as far as possible for us. I mean, we're very content to do our business online at the moment. We're trying to scale up to a point where we can put our products in the at the gyms. We're looking to also, of course, once things are a lot back to normal, I would say, if there's anything as that, is to have some of our products at retailer as well. But for 25 Pharma, we want to make sure that we can scale up, not just in the UK, but global wise, and really grow as a business to an extent where we importing things from Africa. We want to be importing green tea from Africa, because, some of this, the tea that we have here, some of the products that we have in Africa are brought here by these big companies, and they really sold, and the profit is all given to one kind of demographics. And me as an Angolan person, as an African person, my goal is to go back home, look at all these health plants and health teas that we have that a lot of people here they're not aware of, and really make that a market for us here, and promote what our continents are offering in terms of holistic products.
Wow. Yeah, I really, really wish you all the very best. Wish see your brand going big, and taking the markets, and and really, really, really doing big things. Really, really excited for that to happen with you. Yeah. On the other hand, I know that you just had a baby, so congratulations on that. And for those who don't know, I mean, obviously you can't see him, but Elisio is Elisio is about 7 feet. How many feet tall? Yeah,
Stop
6
it,
feet
come
some
on,
inches
man.
tall. Yeah, I remember. Did I ever ask you if you played basketball?
Yeah,
I know
you
that's very
did. You did. You
popular
remember? You
in
used to always
Angola.
you always ask me that question. You used to always ask me that question.
Yeah, but did you play basketball though?
No, yeah, that's what I went to. That's what I went to Newcastle when I finished when I finished
Ah,
school. Yeah,
okay.
they had a little, they had a basketball academy there, so I chose to go up north to see if I would enjoy. But for some reason, when it comes to sports, it's really a great thing that you say that, like, your height and your ethnicity is something that they were a lot of the times used to put you in a box, and I believe that because of that, I've never really had the passion and the love to make anything
To
out
do it,
of
yeah.
sports. Yeah. You kind of took the love out of it for me. And that's why I kind of I reached a certain age where I just thought, this is what people expect from me because I'm black and I'm 6'7".
Yeah.
Just,
And so
just
you
grab a
must
ball
play
and
basketball. Yeah,
yeah.
that's some of the, and that's really, and I think I'm really happy that you didn't pursue that just because I'm black and I'm tall, so I should play black basketball. It's very important that we begin to change some of those stereotypes I remember getting into a workplace. I wouldn't name the place now, one of the places I'd worked. And the person told me that, do I know Stormzy? It was later on I
Oh my
got to know. I
God.
was like, I don't know
Oh
him.
my
I
God.
don't even listen to his music. I was like, I look like him. I said, really? I don't, who is
Oh my
Stormzy?
God.
Some of
That's
those stereotypical things that people just put you in a box like that, and but you should play basketball anyway. Anyway, don't mind me.
No,
Scratch
no,
that.
no. I mean, it's so true what you said. I mean, it's just a matter of us really knowing ourselves, and for some reason, I've always been driven to be great within something that is not entertainment, because I find it very, very constraining that the only time that they want to listen to us is if we are professional footballer, professional basketballer, or
Yeah,
professional singer. So, like, for some reason there was something within me that wanting to be able to put myself out there, in a way that it didn't involve entertainment.
yeah, yeah. And like I said, I can just go on and on and on and say, yo, yeah, I'm proud. I'm
No,
proud
but
of
yeah,
what
it's
you're
not topic.
doing. I'm happy
It's
doing this, killing
it's
it.
it. No, but yeah, no, it's definitely been an amazing thing to have this conversation, because this is my second interview, and
Oh,
the first
really?
interview, yeah, this is my second interview, and the first one that I had, we didn't really get the chance to talk about something that I personally I value a lot, and it's our community. So, no, thank you for giving me your time and your platform as well to have this conversation with you.
Yeah, I think it's a big, big pleasure to have you here. For anyone listening, again, Elisio is the founder of 25 Pharma that deal with food product, more of organic food products, so they're very healthy food products. It's health conscious. 25pharma.co.uk. You can get on the website and place your orders. Check out the fantastic line of products as well, and place your order. Hopefully, maybe someday, maybe if I bring him back, hopefully we have a bigger audience, and then he'll be able to give us like a promo code. So if you apply the promo code from this podcast to your orders, you get some discount, whatever. But yeah, that's not happening right now anyway. So once again, Elisio, thank you for coming to the show. It's been nice having you here, and hopefully looking forward to hearing more from you and of you in the future as well.
Definitely. I'm hoping that we can do this again very soon, of course. And I wish you all the best. And let's catch up at some point.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you very much.